And like journalists and these publications, they do that so much, right? Like they literally try to create all these exciting and shocking stories, and sometimes they like blow it out of proportion when it is a very simple story, right? Causing the message to be distorted.
He used to work for a big apparel company here in the US, and he ended up feeding a lot of articles into the media and getting to know the ecosystem on how blog posts and how internet content runs around the web. And he was able to actually feed not true information on these blogs to be published in the bigger blogs.
Don't get influenced like these big media companies that, you know, at the end of the day, they're not serving anybody by just like going onto one point of view instead of like going for the truth.
Happy Monday, FONZI. How you doing today?
I'm good. Feel like we haven't recorded in quite some time.
I know, comeback. I almost died last week. It felt like I had the flu, and it was a really rough week because also my 3-year-old had the flu too. So we're both quarantined in the house, and FONZI did not come close.
Yeah, didn't come at all. That's why you guys heard an episode. I forgot what I said, but I was
something unlaid.
Yeah, it was. I recorded an episode from bed, and it was actually pretty cool. I could feel, you know, I was kind of like
for
the dream energy just coming in.
That was dedicated for the people that always put excuses to record a podcast episode because they're not in the right environment. Clearly,
you can record a podcast from your bed.
From your
literally.
bed. But that's actually really good episode too. So go listen to it if you haven't.
Appreciate it.
Welcome back to everybody. Thank you so much for the support in the podcast has been growing like crazy. Thank you so much. Continue to download those episodes and let us know. Give us feedback of what you want to listen to. But today we have a very special episode because if you are watching the video version, we are wearing our soccer jerseys. It's World Cup season. Let's go.
Yep. And we're actually wearing the 2 winning teams so far today.
I know.
England and the Netherlands. And later on today, in about 20 minutes, the US play. So
I know.
Let's see if they're going to win.
So anyway, so we were supposed to record Saturday and Sunday to have a few episodes in here, but obviously the World Cup took priority. So we're recording today, and this episode is going to be released also today. So anyways, we have a pretty interesting topic today of who should you trust online. With that said, guys, here we go. Hey, I'm Luis.
And this is Luis.
And welcome to the Content is Profit podcast.
And here you're going to get the insights, accountability, and drive to create consistently and increase revenue.
You'll hear from top entrepreneurs, creators, and anything and everything you need to know about content. All this while having a good time.
The goal of this podcast is simple: entertain, educate, and turn your content into profit.
Ooh, let's go. Welcome. I feel so excited that we are back together in the studio.
So excited. And if you are excited as well, and you're telling yourself that you need more content, less friction, and maybe even somebody making that content for you, feel free to reach out at BIZBROS or go to contentmomentum.com. We got something special for you.
That's right. So today, FONZI, we're talking about who should you trust online.
That is right.
Clearly the BIZBROS. I mean, yes.
Clearly the BIZBROS. But how did the topic came up?
The topic came up because we are in World Cup season. We are both very big football fans or soccer fans for those in the US. And we've been following the sport for a long time. That was our dream. If you want to hear that part of the story, let us know. But I was reading some news because, by the way, spoiler alert, we might have a soccer podcast coming up. I've been doing some research. And it was pretty interesting to me that the head coach of Spain, the country Spain, decided to open his own Twitch channel to stream and communicate directly to his fans. And that was pretty interesting. The first time in history that a coach does that and bypasses legacy media and press in an event like this.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I actually just remember when the new Arsenal coach came in, one of the things they first did was like cut relationships with like a whole bunch of journalists because they were just creating such a like toxic environment with the news that they were putting out and all that stuff that he was like, nope, no more of these, and we're gonna be like very strict with like the information that we give to the journalists, and because I guess they don't trust them either, right? So now I'm just remembering this, but it's pretty interesting to see that now a coach even was like, you know what, is going to come straight from the source, right? Whatever, like, I don't want any journalist or like media publication to change my words or the meetings, or like maybe even put some crazy headlines, because we know very well that a lot of people just read the headlines and they come up with their own conclusions, and then they're sharing the message in the wrong way. So
Absolutely.
very, very important for him to have control of that message.
Yeah, I love it, right? Because also, if you are involved in soccer and you kind of read these news, newspapers and any online source can be pretty crazy sometimes, and they like to spread a lot of rumors, a lot of things that are said, but maybe they're not said. And obviously, the World Cup is a very is an event that happens every 4 years. So all the federations and things, they want to control a little bit of the message that they're putting out. Some of that can be very sensitive, right? As in players are going to stay in the team or people that are leaving and so on. So I love that the Spanish team decided to open something like that, where they're not doing press conference. The head coach is actually jumping on his own Twitch channel and saying the things and answering the fans directly.
Yeah, I mean, let's put this into perspective, right? Like, all these media publications, at the end of the day, they're businesses. They're trying to make money, right? So they change stories sometimes, or they present them in a way that is going to benefit them first. They're going to benefit the business first, and they're going to drive revenue. The more eyeballs they get, the more potentially advertisement they're going to sell, if that is their business model, or if they have a paywall, they can sell more of those memberships, right? So they're looking for that attention, which we actually saw a lot of that growing up back home. We call it amarillismo. That is in Spanish, right? And I just looked it up in English. It's called sensationalism. I might be mispronouncing that. But their official definition is the use of exciting or shocking stories or language at the expense of accuracy in order to provoke public interest of excitement. And like journalists and these publications, they do that so much, right? Like, they literally try to create all these exciting and shocking stories, and sometimes they like blow it out the water, out of proportion, when it is a very simple story, right? Causing the message to be distorted.
Yeah.
And now you got media channels, right? Channels that you can go live and you can be the source, right? So for example, you can go Facebook Live, YouTube Live, you can go on Twitch, all these channels that you can just literally press go live, and now you're in front of your own audience, and there's no sensationalism, right? Like, people cannot change your words in there.
Yeah. So why is this important for your business or for your company, for your own media empire company that you're building to support your business? Not so long ago, I read a book called "Trust Me, I'm Lying" by Ryan Holiday. It's pretty interesting because Ryan Holiday is a big author. He has a ton of books. He just released another one. He's been in the industry for many, many years. And he used to work for a big apparel company here in the US. And he ended up feeding a lot of articles into the media and getting to know the ecosystem on how blog posts and how internet content runs around the web. And he was able to actually feed not true information on these blogs to be published in the bigger blogs. So he explains the whole ecosystem and how all these companies are running and are in a competition for advertisers and for those dollars. So what they want to do is like attract a lot of clicks, a lot of audience members, right? So obviously, like FONZI, the definition that he just read, sometimes not always is the truth. So he was able to do that for many years. He was not proud of it. And then he shares the entire story and he comes clean. And then he puts it out into the world for people to see. So all these companies are planting, they know where to plant the information in different channels. Imagine like a tier system, and then all these channels are high pressure at the very top. The big publications, they feed off of these sources, and sometimes those sources can be not the best ones, right? And they're not cited, and they just want speed of information. So again, this creates a lot of distrust, or people start believing things that are not true.
Yeah, absolutely. This happened recently, and again, it's not part of the media, but at the same time, I think it illustrates this point of sensationalism like so accurately, right? If you've been following the whole story of Elon Musk and Twitter, right, it has been absolutely crazy, right? A roller coaster. Yeah. But there was this post that Elon made of some, I don't remember which media publication posted this, but it was a picture of two guys walking outside of the Twitter offices with like boxes looking like they were just fired, right? And Elon, he tweeted, Ligma and Johnson had it coming, right? Pretty much saying that he fired these guys. And this is my expression when I saw it. I was like, oh man, he already started firing people. Look at that. Like, imagine, and I read some of the comments and people were talking about that, right? Like, oh, why is Elon already firing people? So, you know, some people in favor, some people against, whatever your position, your stand is. It was actually pretty interesting. Days later, I see another tweet of Elon Musk with the two guys, one right next, one to each side of him, and he's saying, firing these guys was my worst mistake. You know, I'm kind of like, you know, I'm ending mistakes, that I'm hiring them back, something like that. And I started reading into the story, not just the headlines. Turns out this was a prank. Or I don't know the perfect backstory, but turns out they manipulated media.
I know the backstory.
You know the whole backstory?
Yeah.
All right, share the backstory.
So it came from a source who's a really good friend of one of those guys. So those two guys also have startups, and they work in front of the Twitter building. So they were in the gym looking at this thing, and they're like, "Hey," they're texting each other like, "There's a lot of media out there. Why don't we go prank them?" And they literally went out, got the things that they were holding. I think it was a box and
it's like
a couple books.
It's like that typical box that you look in the movies, like you're fired, and you got like your little plant walking with that thing.
And after like 10 minutes of planning, and they got these things, they went out there, and it became mega viral, right? Because these news outlets, they were looking for they were looking for that. Yeah. They were looking for exactly that, and they just gave it to them, and it got so crazy. And you know, obviously, we love the approach of Elon. Just like, this is obviously a joke.
He went with it at the end of the day, manipulated media, which, again, sensationalism, they were like, oh, let's explode this to, you know, prove a point of view that we want to get across. And then at the end of the day, Elon and these guys were like, it's all a joke, right? It's a prank. It actually didn't happen, which, again, it brings the question, who should you trust? Like, look at this media chat. Like, none of those people in those media outlets wanted to actually check who these guys were, right? Did they actually stop them and ask them, hey, who do you work for? Like, what do you do? Like, did they actually try to uncover the true story, right? Yeah. Or were they just trying to align with a point of view that knew that was going to get a lot of attention, therefore it was going to be beneficial for their legacy media company?
Yeah.
So keep that in mind, right? And now you have people like this head coach coming out with his own channel, and he is the source, and he just want to be face. He just wants to be the face of his voice of his team, right? He doesn't want his words change, so he wants to interact directly with the fans. Yeah,
he wants to communicate directly with them. There's a lot of people that come with questions and are unanswered, right? And we see this in the company or the business landscape every single day, right? We need leaders that need to step up and become that hero, that attractive character, to be able to communicate the message of your company, to be able to communicate the message of the service that you do in the world every single day, to communicate with that audience, with that community that you might be building one-on-one. So, you know, we are actually going through that process right now with our own company, and how can we create a platform to make sure that we can communicate and serve our clients even better, the people that we help do that. So again, what are you doing, right? If you're listening right now, what are you doing to be able to communicate straight to your community? How do you interact with them, right? Is it a podcast? Is it a YouTube channel? What is the form of publication that you have control over?
Yeah, and can you become the source of news for the people that you're trying to help and serve? At the end of the day, you probably have the best interest for them. It's like, okay, well, how can I help them move forward? And based on that, you're going to decide on how to share those news at the end of the day.
I love it. Any last thoughts, Fonzie?
No, just make sure you're taking care of your message, and don't get influenced like these big media companies that, you know, at the end of the day, they're not serving anybody by just like going onto one point of view instead of like going for the truth. The true truth.
Yeah. I guess my last thoughts is like depending on how you consume content, obviously there's a lot of people that still love TV. We're actually having this conversation with a friend of ours that works in Google, and he sells ads for YouTube on TV, right? And he said like YouTube streaming on TV surpassed, regular TV this year, which is insane. And so where do you like to consume content? There's a lot of people that consume content on Twitter, right? So like who can you follow there that's direct to the action? For example, in the environment of the World Cup, there's this Twitter guy from Spain that his name is Mr. Chip, and he does all these amazing stats and different things, and he's right at the source. So like where do you go to actually look for that information? What's the source? Where are they coming from? Are they citing those things, that information? So as a consumer, be aware of that, right? And then also as a producer, be aware of that, so you can actually put the right foot forward and serve your audience in the best way.
Well put. That was pretty good. Good job.
Studio clap. Awesome. And with that being said, go ahead and follow the show in your favorite podcasting platform and on social media. Thank you so much. Remember, share it. If you're enjoying this, share it with 5 people. 5 people so they can all download these episodes and learn something new every single day. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Take care. Bye.